rest assured, Rip's bald head is going to be on our channel.
Well, here's what happened. We were going into Rupp Arena for the first time. Jared had the contract where we couldn't get in. So that's when we had to get a little bit of political stuff, since we actually lived in Lexington, worked all those different shows. We worked at Henry Clay High School and all the high schools within the Lexington area for years and years. And we finally got a date into Rupp Arena. But because Jarrett ran, that was probably their best town, because they only ran it once a month. They ran it once a month when of course, they did great in Memphis, but when they they were over big time in Lexington, and they grew great crowds there. And when Randy wrestled Lawler in Rupp for the first time, that was the most people up to that time that they'd ever had in the building for pro wrestling, was Randy versus Lawler.
Takes him into the chair. George Weingroff, the promoter. There I am standing by, see what help I can, holding down his legs. There's the lady barber. Off comes the blonde hair. Pez Watley is in the foreground, very upset, but he is not invited into the cage. Rip Rogers is suffering a truly terrible humiliation. To think that he came so close to a victory several times, but as John Kennedy said, the margin is small, but the victory is clear. And to the loser, the humiliation of getting his head shaved. Mike Doggendorf applying his muscles to keep Rip Rogers in the cage, in the chair, and let the barber do her thing. At this point, the humiliation of Rip Rogers was so great that I almost started feeling sorry for him. I know that sounds funny, considering the bad blood that we've always had between us. But this seemed like an ending not fitting for a champion of his kind. And although I was glad to save my own hair, I think a match like this is a pretty stupid thing to have. Loser shaves his head. The stakes are a little bit too high. And I don't feel that a match like this is my cup of tea. And the lady barber is shaving. Rip Rogers challenged me to this match. It was not my idea. Teddy Roosevelt once said, "Far better it is to dare mighty things and enjoy great victories, even though checkered with failure, than to rank with those poor souls who neither enjoy much nor suffer much, for theirs is the gray twilight that knows neither victory nor defeat." And Rip Rogers is experiencing defeat right now. And I can tell you, because I haven't won them all myself, I'm no stranger to failure. I can empathize with how Rip Rogers feels right now, getting his head shaved in the middle of a ring in front of thousands of people in Rupp Arena, Lexington, Kentucky. It is a nightmare, believe me. And he wrestled too hard and too well to have this kind of an ending. There's the lady barber trying to get as close to shave as possible, and in the foreground you see the back of the head of the king, Pez Watley, who unsuccessfully tried to enter the ring with a board. He made it to the top of the fence, but no further, because Mike Doggendorf came to my aid, grabbed Pez Watley, jerked him down, broke the board over his knee, and that's when Rip Rogers tried to back me up into the turnbuckle when I had the sleeper applied, and I turned him around and managed to give him a schoolboy trip and a cradle, and Jim Bunning, who was coming to, gave a 1-2-3 count. And there's the huge crowd at Rupp Arena watching a haircut. The Eye of the Tiger match. Rip Rogers unsuccessful. And there she is, trying to get a closest shave as she can. I was worried that Rip Rogers was sweating so much it might cause some type of a shock. There she is, and the fans are on their feet, approaching the fence. It was all the police could do to try to keep them all back. But a lot of fans came up with souvenirs when the hair was tossed out to the people. Rip Rogers is grimacing now. You can't help but feel sorry for him. Whether you like him or don't like him, no man should suffer this kind of humiliation. Not to mention how long it takes for a man's hair to grow out. Now he's completely chrome-domed. Looks a lot like Lex Luthor. And Mike Doggendorf rubs his head to change his luck, and the crowd goes wild. I guess they got what they came to see. Rip Rogers is trying to maintain as much dignity as he can save, and the King, Pez Whatley, does the humane thing by covering Rip's head with his shirt. So now he becomes the unknown wrestler as he leaves the ring with his head completely covered and
big gold and a billfold, so swole that I can't get the shit closed. So I money fold and rubber band wrap, and when